close that, and the Yak can't open it, but Cyclops can. That's fine. We could potentially go back to Lair now and just try and avoid the uniques as well. And yeah, save it exactly. Evocation is our vocation here, if just because it is one of my favorite schools in the game, and it offers us a decent amount of survivability overall. So maybe not perfectly ideal. Okie dokie, let's hope this fight went better than our first two-headed ogre one, is what I was going to say. But that's gonna be a no, unfortunately. At the very least, what we can do is take some of these enemies out, and now they'll hopefully wander the level, scatter about. This is that classic kick the hornet's nest strategy that I employ so often these days. And I'm hoping that that'll be enough to at least narrow these down to 1v1 fights. Because I think we could have killed the ogre, could have risked it all, but it didn't seem reasonable when there was a troll just standing right behind them, ready to continue that fight after the fact. Unfortunately, when there are multiple enemies like that, you don't just have to win a fight, you have to win it decisively. There we go, and that should simplify things enough to potentially open up our options. Even Boulder Beetle themselves here should be okay against, though I've been burned before. Fantastic. Evocation's already level 4. Yeah, we're gonna have to go back into that skill screen before long here. There it is. Hey, no incredible treasures, unfortunately. Depending on what this axe is, I may still be upset. This has a beautiful brand. Oh no, just flaming. I mean, I'll take it, because that means that we can now drop probably both of our hand axes. So that's a decent little trade. And let us quickly pop in here. I'm going to change our +4 war axe to A. Pop in here, change flaming to B, and that will be our Hydra killer for the most part. The orc who kicked the hornet's nest. Yes, my favorite novel. You should see the tattoo on this bad boy as well. And okie dokie. So, next floor is mostly sketchy due to distortion brand. I feel like there was something else that was tacked onto that pack of enemies to make it even more unbearable. I guess kind of the Kobold Demonologist, just because depending on what they summon, they can either be the easiest enemies in the world or one of the most difficult for this stage. Work with the Quicksilver Dragon tattoo. There we go. I love it. I don't know what the dungeon crawling equivalent of being like a cool edgy hacker would be, but there's got to be something, right? And that's what we are. But okie dokie, I'm not sure, how I feel against fighting up against that crowd, so what we could actually do is head back to Orc. Just being Luganu is being the closest to being an edgy hacker. Oh, this is true. Okie dokie. I think this is kind of our only shot at the moment. I'd like to go to this other stairs as well. This is the one that didn't have the Warlord hovering over our heads. Not a heck of a lot better, but it's something. It's something. And this is definitely stair danceable, if just because we're nestled in this nice little corner, so we can only ever bring 2 enemies up with us, or at least can only ever be facing 2 of the enemies we bring with us. Oh, getting confused was not in my game plan, though. Oh, and that's a Halberd of Distortion we've been... Huh. How about that? Well, we're in a rough spot no matter how you slice this, I feel, unfortunately. We could try and stumble up the steps. If it takes more than 1 turn, we're probably dead, though, unfortunately. So I think instead we're going to have to risk 2 turns of being hit by this Distortion Halberd, and hopefully we don't go back to the Abyss. I don't want to go back. Already been through the ringer once. Okay, we survived, and we survived. But now I know that this stairwell, not a good place to go down. I must be completely distortion blind today because that's been a couple of times now that it's been a little bit late to notice, unfortunately, but that's fine. Having a delete monster ability and a corrupt dungeon ability and leave the worst branch at will ability, yeah, that's fair enough. But let's instead go to this stairwell, and we can do a little bit of dancing here, though it's not ideal. I mean, fortunately, we're using axes, so we have the cleaving damage on all the enemies, but I'm pretty sure the next batch of adjacency here is going to include that warlord, if I had to guess. Also, what weapon do you have? Maybe I should be paying closer attention today. +2 Vorpal. Might have been nice to have a little bit ago, but I can't complain too much. It's time to take a sip from our drink so I can give myself some time to mull over the decisions and the options available here. I mean, it's at least a bit more straightforward to just have Uruk, or just have Herald as the big scary enemies here. A bit less endearing to have the full crowd of orcs, including that warlord that's a little bit out of our league, not to mention the halberd of distortion just waiting to send us back into the abyss once more. Old Luganu talk ended up being much more topical than I otherwise might have liked. So let's try it out. We'll head back here. Is this Uruk Stair? This is Uruk Stair. So nothing to do but to go through it here. Hello, my elephant pals. Not what I expected to see, honestly. But we should be able to take you the old-fashioned way at the very least, even having the full crowd on us here. Maybe should have been slightly less confident, but it's still looking like we're on track to make it through the fight in one piece. Fantastic. And each and every piece of experience now puts off how soon we have to fight Uruk. I keep saying Uruk like that. There's probably a more satisfying way, like Uruk? Urug? Who knows? I'm not familiar with the etymology of dwarven names, as it were, unfortunately. Excuse me, what are you? You are a fire vortex. Why are you just chilling? What's that about, friend? Regardless, we'll switch to our flaming brand here. 7-headed Hydra is a bit rough. Can't really lie there, unfortunately. But we just have to survive a few hits. Become frozen is less than ideal, but as long as we can start chopping heads, we should get out of this ahead to a certain extent, I should say. Ooh, and that's real close. You're down to 3, hey friend. I don't think we have any enemies hiding on us on this floor. So we can always run away from a Hydra. They're the same speed as us. They'll heal up very quickly. But the other option here... Oh, did I just swing? Whoops, I meant to view. I think I canceled out of view mode by accident. Oof, big oops. Today has not been very consistent in terms of playing properly. But let's see. You're 18 damage per head, I believe. Indeed. So you could kill us, but we'd have to roll pretty badly. With over 20 AC, usually in an okay spot against Hydras. So we could risk it all here. With an Ice Blast, guaranteed to hit. Does a decent amount of damage. In fact, with our current evocations, if we take a quick peek, we're at 3d12. So it should kill you. It really should. And if we run away, we'd have to hope for random energy that would benefit us. Random energy the other way probably kills us. Just to gain enough ground to go up and heal, restart this fight with only 3 heads should be pretty straightforward. Nice and easy. Not a great option for us at the moment, unfortunately. So, I think I am going to risk it all here. And we do manage to blast that son of a gun. Perfect. And one of these days, the uniques have got to come out of hiding, and I'm just hoping they haven't started hanging out together. If Arug and Harold have formed a bit of a partnership, and maybe, you know, learned that they have a lot in common and decided that they should really just hang out more often, that is less than ideal for us, to say the very least. But all we can really do is keep exploring here, seeing what we come up against. There she is. Hello, my half-blind friend. Very, very heavy poison damage coming our way as well. Kind of forgot about that aspect of this fight. We have some curing, so that's something. And in fact, I think I'm just going to go for some unavoidable damage, starting with that. No, you got a heal wounds potion? That's not fair. I don't even have any of those. I mean, normally it'd be fair because, yeah, sure, the player can do it too, but come on. Well, that's a shame, too bad, but I guess we'll blast you once more. And we should be able to get through the fight. Less likely now, or I'm less confident at the very least. Well, it turns out we're going to use all of our potions. Oh, and just get poisoned again, so maybe not my best move. You know what? Fine. We'll do this once more. We'll charm you. We'll tell you to retreat. And now we cannot try and force this fight again because we have no curing. We're going to need some source of poison resistance before that becomes approachable. Mistakes were made, to say the very least. One thing we could do is see how we fare against Harold. Maybe it's better. We also should have switched back to our +4 War Axe instead of the flaming one. Might have hit a few more often on those pivotal turns where it truly mattered and gotten the kill. But it wouldn't be the first time that an equipment switch has stood between me and victory. So let us just start exploring, see when we come across this son of a gun. I'm sure Harold is waiting somewhere. Most likely the most inconvenient spot that one could sit, if I know my uniques in this game well. Seems to be the case most often. And we have Shoals as one of our branches here. Still, the other one is going to be where we have to decide how scared we should be moving forward. Shoals is not too bad since we have started training a little bit of throwing here or there. Or here and there, I should say. Okay, Urug, no. You are not the friend we wanted to see. Again, I'd appreciate it if you kindly F'd right off. Thank you. Hey, there we go. There's Harold. Hello. And also, sorry, Urug. That was needlessly harsh. Adding kindly doesn't fix everything. Sentinel's mark is not great. I think we're gonna need to let Harold come up to us. Take you upstairs so that Urug doesn't interrupt our 1v1 mid. Perfect. Okay, that was much more manageable though, and now we do have 5 throwing nets. So if we initiate a fight against Urug using a few of those, maybe we'll be okay. At least slightly better than we might otherwise find ourselves. Well, well, well. Let's head down. We still have the mark on us. There she is. And we will give this a fair shake to see if it works out a little bit more in our favor. As long as we don't break too many nets, fantastic. Works of Venom is tempting to pick up for ourselves, but I think I'll hold off for the time being. Let's use poison darts on this son of a gun. Don't care if we lose too many of them to deep water. Exactly, Sapage. That's all I ever want from uniques in this game, is to 1v1 IRL. Couldn't see how that could possibly go wrong, right? Do I think the poison will kill you? Kind of. So I'm waiting out some turns here. Not quite, but pretty close. There we go. We did lose a lot of our poison darts to the deep water, but as mentioned, not the worst price to pay to get through this in one piece, because hey, it's progress. We've now opened up Layer 2. Hurrah! It's something. Whoop whoop. Our final destination, no items, Fox only. Ah, the duel of gentle people. Gentle people doesn't quite land. I enjoy generally my vocabulary. I like to keep things inclusive as much as possible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's a little bit rougher. Oh gosh. Right, I have no anti-poison, so I'm gonna read a teleport, and sometime while we're turned to stone, we'll get zipped out of there. Perfect. That black mamba is potentially gonna pose a bit of a risk, a bit of a problem, to say the least. We'll see how it goes. Let's switch over to our fire here, try and chop some heads off the Hydra right away. Or not. That's fine too, I guess. Less than ideal. One-headed Hydra. There we go. Now we can switch to the Wyvern. Fantastic. Only slightly terrifying. Much more better. You are also poisonous, but we should be able to kill you quickly enough, so that's fine. It's the Basilisk Black Mamba combo. It's truly going to be an issue here. And servers, it's stumbling along. It's chugging though. It's working on it. There we go. Now I might start saving up some of these enchant scrolls, if just because we have kind of gone over the initial hump. Ooh, and no spider for us. Nice, that actually works out quite well. I mean, we will desperately need that resistance to poison at some time, or else this is going to be a continual effort in some regard, but that's fine. Man of culture, I see, but I counter with slappers only. Love it. Sometimes it's a little awkward because man sometimes is capital M man, as in mankind, not as in people with certain genitals or preferred genders. This is very true. Right? Is gentleman, though? I feel like gentleman kind of skirts the line between the two, where it is generally a gendered term. But I guess if you're talking about like League of Extraordinary style gentlemen, then maybe it's a bit more open-ended. But yeah, it's funny where you run into issues and where you don't. English, or language in general, I should say, to open it up a bit, is such a fascinating thing for just that reason. Words can mean such different things to different people. As we continually get turned to stone here, just hoping to get through in one piece, and we do manage in the end. That's perfect. I think gentleman refers to genteel, not soft-handed, so you think it is one of those words. It's fair enough, yeah. Because I think my main issue there is that I said gentle people, and that one very much, like, gentleman has connotations of, like, honorable, potentially polite as well, depending on your own kind of personal context for the word. But gentle people just seems like you're very much saying that, like, non-forceful is at least what my mind defaults to, even though I wouldn't be surprised if even that was a little bit more open-ended than I'm giving it credit for. Okay, stop this cane toad. I'm no longer having fun, so I'll just kill you. Of course, completely kidding. The game is still very fun, but specifically that hangout with that cane toad, very stinky. Sometimes words just sound awkward because there's sounds that just clash in your ears and tongue, right? And some of that is also just like historical context for the word, because as much as I try now to open up my vocabulary, make it more inclusive to everyone, it hasn't always been that way. And so I feel like gentleman is what I've heard, you know, constantly the only way that that phrase was kind of constituted together. And so just the fact that I'm doing something new could potentially also play a role in the awkwardness of how it all sits. You know, so many little things that kind of all add up to bring together a cohesive image of just sounds slightly off from what I would otherwise expect or normally have said back in the day. But that is a small price to pay, I think, at least for me. I'd much rather spend the occasional conversation feeling a little bit awkward about something that I said versus saying stuff and making somebody feel left out, excluded, or otherwise, you know, looked down upon in whatever regard. Very happy to take the hit on that one. My pride will recover. And in the grand scheme of things, is not that important. Am I familiar with word pairings like fork and knife versus knife and fork? Definitely, right? Like that kind of triggers the exact same thing to a certain extent. Or yeah, it's always said the one way, and so as soon as you say the other one, knife and fork, is so off to me. But I'm pretty sure that there are a decent number of people out there that wouldn't be quite as one-sided in that, depending on regional differences and all that fantastic stuff. But there we go, our training and throwing finally paying off here as we can start bringing the boomerangs into this and doing a great job at softening up some of these enemies that even though we could face them, anything that makes our life a little bit easier, our survival slightly more guaranteed, definitely have to jump at the chance. Similarly, I should have done the same here. Please don't poison me. Perfect. We now have one curing potion back, so that's nice. But I'd still prefer to keep that around in our back pocket for when we get completely and totally lethally poisoned by some miasma or something in the future. Who knows what we have yet to come across in terms of trials and tribulations within the game here. Yeah, you think you can survive some momentary instances of being tongue-tied to make other people feel better? That's exactly it. Yeah. As a cisgender white male, I feel like I gotta check my privilege and make sure that I'm not just taking the easy route out at every given opportunity, because I already can kind of do that in my day-to-day life, unfortunately. Okay, took a couple of steps here. I'm waiting to make sure that I'm not just lagging out. Okay, I think server and or myself. WebSocket connection was closed. That doesn't seem great. We'll just refresh that real quick. English also has unwritten order of adjectives rules. You can list them, but they sound wrong if violated. Yeah, there's so many of those like grammar rules that as a native speaker, you never have to like learn in a formal sense. Ooh. Crawler, are we okay? Did I crash it? Was I being too good? Was I winning? Winning too much? We'll just give this a moment to settle, I guess. But yeah, there's so many of those rules of grammar that you never actively know on like I guess an intelligent level, on a like distinction level, and instead it's just kind of in the background knowledge that you've picked up by just having it spoken to you and by you over the years. I got that fully thrown into me when I sat in on like an English course in Spain, and I couldn't answer most of the questions. It was like, okay, so what is a proposition? And in my head I was like, I can give examples, but definitions? Oh no, please, I can't. I'm too stupid for that. Sure, I've been speaking it my whole life, but you just kind of do it, you know? Just something you've learned. I just ate a delicious big red apple versus I just ate a red delicious big apple. That's, yeah, great example too. Oh, we play on a Crazy Act too? That's neat. Yeah, we do indeed here. And thanks, Railbird, for the good luck. We've hit a little bit of an issue now. We lost connection to the WebSocket, and then refreshing hasn't been working out, so we're kind of stalling, just chatting, having a good time instead. And Romance languages are just as bad sometimes. Why is the lettuce a feminine noun, but the milkmaid is not? Right? Just some rules that you just have to know. It's the classic phrase of like, that's the rule except when it isn't. And you just kind of have to learn. I just find English particularly offensive. I find it to be a very inconsistent language, to say the least. Progress here, though? Maybe, just maybe? Crawl? We recovering? We doing it? I mean, I was enjoying the conversation. Take your time. But there we go. Some of those steps did apparently register in the back end, too. Interesting. Interesting. Can I fight Death Yaks? Okay, maybe I should slow down a little bit. I just tried to do some stuff, and it's still slow. I'm guessing there are a lot of people playing right now. Heavy server load. I shouldn't be stress testing the system. Just what if I press all the buttons at once? Does this help? Does this help? That's what I'm constantly getting mad at my partner for. Because she has a bad habit of just pressing all the inputs at once and hoping that whatever happens, happens. Okay, yeah. Cursor went a little bit crazy there. I'm gonna let this sit for just a moment. English is like that box of bolts you have in the garage, where some of it is metric, some is standard, and you just work with what you've got. Exactly, it's wonderful. It totally makes sense and is not at all a broken, stupid system. Hey, as long as we can make it work, as long as I can communicate to some extent what I'm trying to get across, I feel like sometimes better than others, then I can't complain too much. Okay, I had to take a bit of a weird route there around the corner because I didn't want anyone triggering the alarm trap, but it does mean that we're now next to 2 Death Yaks, which hopefully is okay. But we haven't yet tested our metal against these exact buddies yet, so we'll have to see how she goes in just a moment here. Listen, if I have to cross-thread this coarse-threaded metric nut in there, I will, and you can't stop me. That's the spirit. Just do it, Forehead. You'll figure it out. And again, as long as it works, which is kind of the... fits with the analogy of just getting your point across in what you're able to say or what words you choose to use within whichever given language, then it's working well enough at the end of the day. That's all we can truly hope for in life. Okay, no, 2 Death Yaks is too much. How about that? Well, I'm going to take a risk here and I'm going to step into this dispersal trap and hopefully gain some ground. Do get a bit of spacing here, which just means that we can run away to live another day. Perfect. Just yaks, Michael. How hard could they hit for 10 damage? Unfortunately, not so, though I may wish it. Let's look at the little things. They're so fluffy, too. Now, fortunately, those days are over. We're no longer on the weak-looking yak tiles that made you believe you stood a shot. These are the yaks she told you not to worry about here. There's a good example of me not using full inclusive language. Something we're working on, though, and that's all I can try my best to do. Death Yaks implies they die, right? That's the dream. And it seems to be the case, right? That first one did a real good job of making their namesake proud, their species as a whole proud, by just going and dying on us like you should. But the rest of these... disappointments, absolute failures to their entire group. They should work on that, but hey, There's something we all could work on, right? Okay, I'm hoping we can kill the cane toad before the death yak gets up to us, and we did. Now make your species proud and die on us, will you, friend? Perfect. Okay, a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of pain, but we managed to make it through in one piece. Maybe that disconnect is what we needed in order to guarantee our success in the future moving forward. Slight down low. Ambiguous mortality yak? Oh, I hope not. I truly hope we don't come across any of those. If their namesakes work in the same way, oh boy. I feel like so many monsters in this game are already an ambiguous level of dead, and I much prefer them to be the definitive dead version, if it can be helped. The only good yak's a dead one. And that's very subtly distinct and different from a death one. But these small distinctions are what's important in life, of course. Okie dokie. Oh, I'm still using my Flame Axe. How about that? How about that? We do have a couple of poison enemies, which concerns me. Especially since the Mamba alone didn't go very well last time. But we have 2 curing now. Ooh, incredible. So maybe we're okay. I should also stop putting in inputs. As soon as I get the lag, I need to just hands off the keyboard so I don't immediately press tab 10 times and just have to wait with bated breath to see whether we survived the outcome or not. That is a lot of poison, friends. About to be lethally poisoned? Yep, that would do it. That would do it. In fact, this is very bad for us, I believe. This is fine, I get. Just those eyes of terror as the house burns down. Yeah, how could this possibly go wrong, right? We've survived worse. Just need to pull out another miracle survival. How hard could it possibly be? Also, I didn't check your damage. 20 and 24, 26. So if we kill the Black Mamba, so essentially, to break it all down, this is what I was thinking. Ice Blast here probably kills the Mamba. So that's nice. No guarantees, of course. If it does, we can survive one hit from the Cane Toad for sure. And then we have to start thinking about what's in store for us for the future. If this doesn't kill, then I'm gonna look stupid and desperately wish that I'd used a blink scroll instead. It's better than a 50-50 shot, I believe, because if this is still like 3d12 at the very least, never didn't have it. It did work. We almost died to just the Cane Toad. Shows just how poisoned we are. Oof. Oof. If you hit escape, you can test how responsive. That's a good one. Yeah, any of the non-functional inputs would be a great way to test out what's going on. So I think I'm going to have to end up blinking anyway, which makes me feel kind of silly about the entire strategy here. But hey, we do what we must, right? We moved out to the Kelby server recently because the Crazy Hack was being unstable for you. Yeah, no, I normally don't play web tiles, so I normally don't have to deal with these problems. It's something that I always have to get used to a little bit each time we come back to these tournaments, just to make sure that I'm not, you know, over buffering the inputs to a ridiculous extent. Let's blink and hope we're not taking 9 damage in one turn. That would be a lot. Okay. Cool. We're taking 19 poison damage per turn. But there we are. Definitely dropped the F's in chat. The first death of the new version here. But all part of the fun. I mean, I'm surprised this character got this far. Not to blame Ignis whatsoever. You did great, kiddo. Keep it up. or dad. I don't know what my relationship is to you yet. We'll have to figure out after a few more rounds. It's the Spellforge servitor from last Sunday all over again. But it's nice now that we've lost one here, especially since it was one that we were struggling a little bit in the kind of very early mid-game with. Pressure's all a little bit off now. We can relax. No first win, first try for us in this version, but that just means that we can have fun, get a little silly with it, get a little wacky. And to that extent, if there are any combinations that people would enjoy watching, would really like to see us try and tackle, definitely let me know, because I always enjoy trying out suggestions over my own kind of randomized selection of traits. Could be Cinder Acolyte again if we wanted to give Ignis a little bit more of a shot. Would be something else as well. It was an okay character, but not a great one. Never really got a clear spell or weapon to define it, that's all. Exactly, kind of just in the middle. And proof BO is the greater god. Vindication. I mean, was there any ever doubt? That sentence was not ordered correctly. Was there ever any doubt? Maybe it was and I just said it weirdly. Honestly, can't remember for the life of me now, but regardless, you are correct. And I have paid for my heresy, I've paid for my sacrilege, and honestly, I deserved it, because what would I be if we got through on an orc that wasn't the Messiah? Like, that seems kind of messed up. Not the Messiah got the Orb of Zot and retrieved it from the dungeon. Something doesn't mesh well there. But there we have it. 298, we did it. And it was a decent attempt to start off here. 19 poison damage in one hit was wild. Definitely, I expected to maybe die, but I did not expect it to be over double what I was hoping it would be reduced to. He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty orc. But okie dokie, I'm gonna quickly run out, grab a refill for my drink. Now's the time for any suggestions if you have any. No pressure. If not, we can always kind of fill our way through, close my eyes, and pick a random species, pick a random background, and get to the bottom of it. I wouldn't mind maybe trying out Okawaru. We could try out the new Yered if we wanted. Potentially something new. Definitely let me know if you have any thoughts. I'll be right back with a refill, and hopefully a decent run to get started on. I'll see you in just a moment here. Don't go anywhere.